Hello, welcome. It's Kathy and Katie here, and we are bringing you some delightful new children's picture books that we're going to talk about today. These have all come out in about the last 6 months, so they're all pretty new. Kathy, want to get us started?
Sure, I would love to. Like Katie said, I'm Kathy, and I'm a branch librarian over at Plainfield, and I'm excited to be here taping with Katie at the Tyrone Township Ranch today. And the first book I'm going to talk about is The Pet Potato, written by Josh Lacey and illustrated by Momoko Abe. This is a fantastic book. The main character wants a pet more than anything, and that's all Albert wants is a pet, and he begs his parents for dogs, fish, cats, everything. And his family says no, they're too busy, they don't have time to take care of something like that. And then one day Albert's dad brings home a present, and it's a potato. And Albert is confused, and his dad tells him it's his pet. And so you can read all about how Albert embraces the potato as his new pet, and how he then gets to share that pet with all of his friends at the end. It's a fun, happy book, and maybe you can have your own pet potato.
I also thought that book was delightful. My first book here that I'm going to bring up is A is for Axolotl, An Unusual Animal ABC. This is by Catherine McCorrell. So I now know what axolotls are because my son plays Minecraft and there are axolotls in it, apparently. They're adorable. They're little salamanders. But this book has all kinds of wonderful, unusual animals. So like the echidna, which is a monotreme. So it's an egg-laying mammal. And you can learn all about all the different weird animals in here, including axolotls. So it's just a little bit more interesting than your average alphabet book.
The next book is called Berry Song, and I believe Katie also picked this book, and it's written by Caldecott medalist Michaela Goad. And the thing that's really cool about Michaela is she grew up in Alaska as part of the Tlingit Nation, and it kind of is based on her growing up years where every year they look forward to berry season. And some of the things I loved about this book is the language, the way she strings words together, in addition to the pictures. They're just beautiful. One of the things that she says is silvery salmon, and it's just really fun, and it talks about how we are one with the earth, and is really a great way to talk to all things native and the world with young children.
It really is a beautiful book. I am going to go for something less beautiful and more hilarious. This is called Goodnight Butterfly. So you may have read a few years ago, Ross Barack's, this is the author, the very impatient caterpillar, about a caterpillar who just really wants to be a butterfly like right now. Well, that caterpillar turned into a butterfly, and now he's awake in the middle of the night, and so he has to find out what's happening because now he's wide awake. So he wants to explore. He wants to find out all the things that happen at night. He wants to keep everybody else awake. He's talking to some nocturnal friends. So this is basically a book about the forest at nighttime through the eyes of this wild butterfly who is just like a small child waking up in the middle of the night.
Another book that Katie also picked today, but she was letting me talk about it, is called Punky Aloha, and it's by Shar Tiasoa. Okay, and the author is Polynesian, and so there's a very strong Polynesian theme throughout this. Obviously, Aloha is the little girl's last name. And it's a great story about facing your fears and being really brave. In this story, Punky's grandmother has made banana bread, but it's baking, and they need fresh butter to put on the banana bread. And so Punky has to go to the local market all by herself, but she's terrified. So her grandmother gives her these wonderful, brave glasses. and she tells Punky that aloha means, flip to this because I always forget, that they have to be helpful, be giving, be brave. And that's exactly what Punky does, and that she meets people along the way, and these glasses help her be helpful, caring, and brave. And then she realizes she can do all of those things without the glasses too. So it's a fun story.
Yeah, I did like that one. That grandma is really cool in that
She
book.
is really cool, yeah.
All right, and this is another one that I thought was particularly funny called Old Friends. So this is about a little girl who doesn't really like the same things that her friends like. She likes knitting and she likes gardening and she likes baking, all of these things that she used to do with her granny. But her granny passes, and so she, she really misses her, and she wants people who want to do those same kinds of things with her. So she goes to her local community center, and the person in charge is like, well, this is for older people. You have to go this way to the kids section. And she's really disappointed. So she goes home and she puts some flour on her hair and she dresses up as a little old lady. And she goes into that community center and they have a rockin' good time. She learns a new knitting stitch from one of the guys. She gets a new recipe to try out, and she gets some gardening tips. And so eventually it's dance time. So there's, these older folks who are really getting down and boogieing. She does decide to join them, even though dancing's not really her thing. But then her whole disguise falls off, and they decide, well, that's okay. And they let her know that they are really like kids on the inside anyway. So they all learn a lot about how you can have fun at any age, all together. So it's very cute.
I love that. That's a great story. We have a sit and stitch group at our library, and we've had some young people join the older people this summer, and it's been really cool to see the multi-generational stuff. Okay, the next book I'm going to talk about is Armadillo Antics, and it's by Bill Martin Jr. and Michael Sampson. And everyone probably knows Brown Bear, Brown Bear. That book's been around for a little while. And in this book, Bill Martin still has some of those beautiful pictures, and he has sweet rhymes. And so the armadillo goes through the whole story, but he meets other animals, and it's just really beautiful and fun, and it's a great rhyming, which is great for kids to learn language, and is really important. So.
This one is Doggy by Nancy Armo. I just realized that I don't know if I have been saying the authors on these, but we'll get you a list. So this is Doggy. So there is a little boy who really wants a dog. We're seeing this theme. Excuse me. The theme a lot. Kids want pets because it's an important part of childhood. Wanting a pet. I don't know about getting a pet, but and so he really, really wants a dog. And a cat shows up to his house, and he's like, "Well, I guess I'm not getting a dog, but I'm going to call this cat Doggy." So he tries to teach this cat to fetch and to do all the dog things, and the cat is not really that interested because the cat's not a dog. So the cat doesn't make the best dog, but it might be just what he needs, because by the end of the book, he has a nice little snuggle buddy in his new kitty friend, his new kitty named Doggy.
So because you did that one, I'm going to skip around here to Please Puppy Please. And this is by Spike Lee and Tanya Lewis Lee, and it's illustrated by Kadir Nelson. And it's a sweet puppy who they're trying to train, and so they're always saying, please, 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 puppy, please. And finally, at the end, he does what they want, and they just love their puppy. And there's snuggles in this too, and just some beautiful, colorful pictures.
I love Kadir Nelson's artwork. It just jumps right out at you. Yeah. So realistic.
I was going to say vibrant.
Yeah, vibrant. Yes, that's a perfect word. My next book is called This is a School by John Shu, and with illustrations by Veronica Miller Jameson. And this is just a really nice little book. The author of this, we have actually, the librarians have met this guy talking. He is a really enthusiastic teacher librarian who travels around the country, talks about how great books are, and was a Scholastic youth ambassador, for some time. So he brought Scholastic books to different schools. Now he just kind of does it on his own. But it talks about what school is all about. This is a school. This is a teacher, and it talks about how it's a very welcoming place, and talks about all the wonderful things about school. So it's a perfect book for any kid who might be a little bit nervous about starting school, knowing that it's on the horizon. It's just a really nice, comforting book. Very very simple, but very well done.
He was a great speaker. He came and talked to all of us at KDL. My next book is This is the Tree We Planted by Kate McMullen and illustrated by Allison Friend. And it's a family who planted a tree. And then they go through and all of the things that live in the tree and all of the ways that the tree helps the community. And it's just really fun. It names a lot of different birds and animals in here, and you can see the change of seasons and the life cycle of the tree, and it's just really beautiful. And I love, there's a walking stick and butterfly and birds. On almost every page there are different animals and different kinds of nature. So I love it. This is the Tree We Planted.
Nice. All right, the next book I have is Granny's Kitchen by Shade Smith and illustrated by Ken Daly. This is another. I think I have a lot of grandmas in this. I don't know if it's the time of year or just what I'm thinking about or something. But it's about a little girl who loves spending time with her grandma and loves cooking with her grandma. And she wants her grandma to show her how to make all of these traditional Jamaican recipes. It takes place in Jamaica. And so her grandma shows her how to do it. She has a little trouble at first, but she's learning, and her grandma reassures her that she will learn how to do that someday. And one day, grandma is really tired, and so she, doesn't really feel like getting up and making the whole breakfast. But she lets her granddaughter know, I taught you how to do all of these things, so why don't you try it? And sure enough, she makes everything that Granny made. Maybe not perfectly, but she's practiced, and so she makes it almost as good as Granny. So it's a really nice story about getting confidence in yourself.
I love that. And the cooking and the grandmother theme.
Yes.
My next book is called I Love My Body Because, and it's by Shelley Anand and Naomi Ellenson and illustrated by Erica Rodriguez Medina. And I love this book because it's a book we should all read. Because when we've all felt insecure or unsure or self-conscious about our bodies, but in this book it starts about how much this little girl loves her body and all of the different things that bodies can do, like read and carry groceries and do yoga, and it doesn't matter what color you are, what size you are, how old you are. We all have things that our bodies do for us and that we can be grateful for. And I just love that it's all about this self-love. And I love that it is diverse. We see people in wheelchairs, and it makes everyone realize that they have something to be grateful for.
Really important. All right. The next book I have is just this adorable little book called Sunday Pancakes by Maya Tetsukakawa. And it is a group of animal friends that get together and they're going to make some pancakes. However, they're out of butter, I think. And so they have to get butter. And there are all of these things that keep going wrong, and they keep calling more of their friends to help them out. But in the end, they make a mess, but they also make delicious pancakes, and they have all of their friends there. And so through all of this trial and error and getting help from their friends, they end up with a pretty nice breakfast and some time spent together.
That's fun. Sunday pancakes are the best. Okay, this other book is called Build by Red Nose Studio, which I should have looked up what that was a little more. And it just is a very simple book. And is great for anybody who likes construction. And there are pictures, and there's really one word on every page. So this is the perfect book for your young child who is a construction enthusiast. The pictures are fun, and bright and colorful, and it's just great. So sometimes we need those books that have one word on every page because there are other books that have
All the words.
yeah, all the words for sure.
Okay, next I have Kicks by Van G. Garrett, and illustrated by Reggie Brown. I have never been a huge sneaker person, so I actually really liked this book because it kind of enlightened me. It reminded me of the joys, the simple joys of getting something I love. So it talks about, the smell of the new sneakers and how they're nice and like before there's any creases in there. And so even though sneakers are not really my jam, I could totally relate to all of those like using all of your senses to really appreciate that one thing you like. So this kid gets brand new sneakers, and this whole thing is just basically a love song to his awesome sneakers.
Yeah, I didn't really relate to that so much. And I also picked another dog book. So we did seem to have some themes here that we didn't even plan. And this is called Don't Worry, Murray. And in this book, Murray is a little puppy and he is terrified of everything. He's worried about everything. But he faces a lot of challenges, and his friends and his family always tell him, Don't worry, Murray. And he has to deal with things like fireworks and other dogs and scary situations. And at the end of the day, he's really proud and his family is really proud of all of the things and all of the accomplishments that he's had. So it's a great book, especially maybe you're a little afraid about something and you can relate to Murray. And it's by David Ezra Stein, and he is a Caldecott honor winner.
Okay. And next I have by Blanca Gomez, Dress Up Day. So this is about a little girl who is super, super excited about Dress Up Day at school. But when Dress Up Day comes, she's sick and she has to stay home. So the next day, her mom suggests that she wear her costume to school. And she's like, yeah, that's a great idea. So she goes to school, and first she looks around and nobody else is wearing costumes. And so she feels a little silly, but she keeps wearing her costume. Then one of her friends comes up, and it turned out that he was gone the day before too, and he really wanted to dress up. So he dressed up on that same day as well. And the other kids kind of look at him, but they're fine. But the next day, you see a bunch of different kids wearing different costumes. So their like bravery inspired all these kids to dress up. So it's just a very fun um, romp through Dress Up Day, about being an individual, being yourself, maybe even being a trendsetter.
Who doesn't want to wear a bunny costume? In this book, Piglet Comes Home. It's about how a deaf-blind pink puppy found his family, and it's by Melissa Shapiro, and she's DVM after her name because she is a doctor of veterinary medicine, and it's illustrated by Ellie Snowden. And the reason the author is a veterinarian because this is a true story about how she rescued a puppy, and she has a whole group of animals that she's rescued over the years. And so this is a story about how Piglet joins her family and all of the animals that she's rescued, and it's just really fun, and it's a really heartwarming, great story about animal rescues.
Really nice. My last book here is called The Bad Day by Fran Preston Gannon, and she's written and illustrated a number of stories, which I can't think of off the top of my head naturally. But this is about a group of woodland critters who everyone's having a really bad day. Squirrel, most of all. Nothing is going right. Things are just not going well in general. And this is true for everyone in the forest. So they're kind of all grumping around. And then Fox talks about how he has a really bad day because his stomach hurts. And then they hear mouse inside his belly. So you'll see how if you pick this up, you can see how everybody's day, including mouses and the fox, gets better by the end. Because it's just nice they all work together to make everyone feel better. And it just talks a little bit about how being surrounded by your friends and your family and your loved ones, that can really turn around a bad day.
Well, that was fun. There's a lot of great new books, and there's many, many, many more that we could have chosen. So just, come into any of our branches and talk to any of our librarians. And and we can help you find your next favorite book.
See you later.